So ang napa-assign po sa akin ay yung module on the user-centered CIS. And this particular module po, will guide us in creating the user-centered CIS. And it also will deal on developing an effective CIS that will involve more than just yung providing po ng data, because it also requires an understanding of the user-specific needs, context. By prioritizing po yung mga user-centered approaches, we will learn to craft content that is not only scientifically accurate but also accessible, relevant, and actionable for our target audience. So, nakakonsentrate po tayo doon sa development ng user-centered CIS. Okay, so basically, i-rundown lang din po natin yung steps, particularly on the participatory CIS system. And that includes yung development po ng seasonal calendar, which is step 1. And then step 2 is producing a systems map. And step 3 is the preparation po ng action plan. Okay po. So let's, historically, there has been a supply-driven CIS. And this is a type of information service identified by the data source, coming from the data providers rather than from the demand of the end users. Ito po yung sinasabi din nila na science push approaches pag yung supply-driven. And it basically focus mainly on the climate information and data to the end users, providing climate information and data to the end users. Normally and often po, hindi na ko consider yung needs and context ng mga end users. The reason why nakakaroon tayo ng mismatch between doon sa information na napoprovide sa end users at ano ba yung talaga yung actually kailangan nila. Di ba po? And that will basically hinder yung effective climate adaptation and resilience building. Kaya sa atin, it will be very, very necessary to understand the perspective of the local community. Kasi sila din naman po talaga ang ating mga end users, particularly for the agriculture and fisheries-based na CIS. Okay, so to learn about this, tingnan po natin yung process ng participatory CIS. Okay, so step 1 is yung development ng seasonal calendar. Dahil kayo naman po ay nasa LGUs, you are very much aware kung paano ba dinidevelop yung seasonal calendar. Siguro po baka ito ay revisiting lang or review. So, we need to do yung first step. At nakalagay po dyan, we have to understand first yung current farming system. Kung ito ay farmers o kaya naman ay sa fishing system ng mga end users natin through the seasonal calendar. And we have to keep in mind yung questions when constructing the seasonal calendar. Para malaman sana natin at first ano yung mga activities nila, in the agriculture activities nila na affected, highly affected ng seasonal changes. Okay? And paano in a way, naapektuhan yung mga activities na yon pag nagbabago na po yung season. So in the Philippines, alam naman natin na may dalawa lang tayo na klase ng seasons. Ito yung wet at saka yung dry season natin. So apart from that, kung malaman na po natin yun, kailangan din natin malaman ano yung magiging role ng mga climate information. Ano mo provide sa mga farmers at paano na ito magagamit to inform them on what particular things that they need to do para mas, in a way, maka-adapt sila doon sa mga changing climates. Malaman din po natin, dapat kaya ding ma-explain ng mga farmers yung current knowledge nila when it comes to climate-related concepts. That way, we can also assess ano ba yung understanding nila sa basic concepts po ng CIS. Diba? At saka ano yung mga communication channels na kalimitang ginagamit nila, nakalimitang ginagamit, para makareceive sila ng information. Okay? And this is the best example, by the way, yung participatory CIS comes from Lambert into 2020. Yun po yung pinanggagalingan ng information natin dito. And this one is an example, also from Lambert, sa workshop po niya sa mga Nepali farmers. Although hindi po natin mabasa kasi ito ay nasa kanilang local dialect, this comes from a focus group discussion. Pero alam natin yung contents ng seasonal calendar in the first place. Ano po ba ang contents ng seasonal calendar? Na andyan makikita natin yung months of the year, yung crops planted, at saka yung water requirements. Kailan ba ang may araw, kailan ba may ulan, at saan, di ba? Basically, yung pinaplot po natin sa seasonal calendar ay yung activities. Kailan ba dapat tayo magsoso? Kailan ba tayo magpa-plant? Kailan ba tayo mag-nurture ng ating mga crops? At kailan tayo mag-harvest? Once they fully mature. Okay? Ito, normal. Sabi niya nga natin kanina na andyan po yung months of the year, andyan yung mga activities kung saan magsoso, anong period o anong months of the year dapat may sowing, may growing, at saka may harvesting, at ano yung mga main crops or crops planted doon sa mga farm lots. Okay? Kahapon po nababanggit na yung AKAP, so nakita nyo na rin ba na napasok nyo na rin po yung website ng AKAP? So ito po, example, yung isang kabilang yung kabilang graph, figure po dyan, comes from AKAP already. And this is at the municipality of Etiague. Sino pong nasa taga-Etiague? Okay? So nandyan, nakita natin dyan yung rice. We have 2 cropping season for rice. At naandyan yung mga different activities po nila from the preparation stage down to the maturity stage ng crops kung pwede nang mag-harvest. Okay? So, yan po, These are just some of the examples, So, seasonal calendar, kasi kailangan talaga nating maintindihan yung current farming system ng mga farmers. O kaya kung sa fishing, I'm not very much familiar po sa fishing, kung ginagamit din ba nila yung crop or yung scheduling ng mga activities sa fishing. The second step is now we need to produce a systems map. So sa systems map, as you can see from this, sabi po dito, di ba kanina na-mention na kailangan din tingnan yung mga communication channels, di ba po? So with the systems map, kailangan natin ngayon i-analyze yung communication channels which would comprise the CIS by mapping yung mga enabling environment nila such as climate and weather information chain, at saka yung support resources and services. The farmers, we have to ask the farmers to depict yung information flow ng climate information system from the various producers of information hanggang daw po makarating sa kanila yung information. Ito po, isang example na nakuha ko from the dairy farmers in Turkey. Pero pinapakita niya lang dyan is yung network. Yung communication network po, from among the different sources ng information for the dairy farmers. Mga dairy farmers ito. And networks nga, so pwede po silang magsala-salabid, para maka-reach, bago ma-reach yung intended na end user. And then nakalagay din dyan, how strong. How strong the information contact is. Ibig sabihin, pag mas kita po natin yung lines, mas strong daw po. Ibig sabihin, most of the sources of information for the dairy farmers in Turkey, ang source talaga nila ay personal na information. Kasi yung nakita niyo po sa center na yan, that includes the family members, the members noong kanilang organization, tsaka yung mga conventional breeders as well. So kung nakita na rin po nating information flow, on the perspective of the farmers, then the next step is identify yung mga enabling environment. Kasama dyan yung political, economic, and cultural factors that may facilitate the information flow from the various communication channels. So dapat ma-capture din po yun, pagdating dito sa information or do sa systems map natin. And also identify as well yung mga support systems, particularly resources at saka yung services na kakailanganin para mas ma-maximize po ng mga farmers yung use ng information na ina-provide sa kanila through the different communication channels sa CIS. So, ito po kay Lambert pa rin, and this is an example of the systems map na na-produce po niya ng isang FGD nila sa Nepal. Very interesting for me, kasi kita nyo doon sa taas, kasama din yung wife ni farmer. Before pala mag-reach doon kay farmer, di ba po, the volunteer po dito sa baba, kung titignan niyo po, susugin po natin yung line na yan, ng communication na yan. Yung volunteer, normally ang tina-target siguro niya would be the wife kasi by the time na pupunta si volunteer sa area, baka wala doon si farmer, nandun sa kanyang farm. So, i-relay niya kay wife yung information and the wife can relay it to the husband later on. Di ba po? So, bago dumating talaga kay farmer, yung information, it may pass through yung different persons o kaya kung ano man, Kasi even po within the area, di ba meron tayong mga organizations, Somehow, when the information reach yung leader ng organization, tsaka pa lang niya yun, mai-relay or may kakascade doon sa mga members niya within the organization, So ito, very simple pa lang, pero I'm not sure po dito sa atin, sa Isabela, how complex ba? Very complex ba or very simple lang din po yung ating systems map? Pagdating, by the time na ma-reach talaga yung mga farmers. I'm not sure if one municipality na mga farmers would be different doon sa iba. Kasi from the FGDs that we conducted last year, we believe na dumadaan pa sa mga technician, sa DA, yung mga klase ng information before it reaches the farmer. Others naman, they also use yung mga social media. Even nga po yung mga kwentuhan sa community. Kung merong medyo techie, siyang magsasabi doon sa kapwa farmer niya na hindi techie about whatever information that they will get related to our climate information. So, and the last part or the last step is to prepare an action plan. Sabi nga po natin, it may be developed to guide yung development mismo ng user-based na CIS. Sabi po yan ni Lambert. And for our purpose, meron po kaming ini-offer na revision doon sa action plan template kasi it will include the identification po ng constraints. Constraints na kung saan affected yung mga end users sa pag-access ng CIS. And then, how such constraints naman na-impact yung farming system. For example, kung farming system na tinitingnan natin. And then, sabi po dyan, we list down at least 7 na mga farming situations na kung saan medyo kailangan ng end users ma-enhance yung kanilang CIS. Okay, once na nag-agree na daw po dun sa list, then that's the time to fill in the template. Outlining yung action plan that would address yung different concerns, kung ano may mga concerns, ano yung current intervention to address yung mga concerns na yon or yung situation na yon, ano yung mga resources na kailangan para mas ma-enhance ang CIS, ganun din po yung klase na information na needed para mas maging informed yung decisions na gagawin ng ating mga farmers at ano yung magiging expected outcome kung ma-improve nga yung CIS. Ito po yung suggested namin na matrix to fill up. What we are suggesting po, yung format. So, nandiyan yung constraint, sabi ko nga po kanina, ano yung per constraint, ano yung impact nun sa farming system o kaya kung sa fishing system, ano yung current intervention na ginagawa ng government to cater yung problem na yon, ano yung resources na kailangan, ano yung information din na kailangan or topic ba yan na dapat ma-include sa CIS, ano yung magiging expected outcome kung may improve po yung CIS. So in summary, sabi dyan, CIS must be user-centered and demand-driven. Hindi na po tayo dun sa supply-driven na CIS, ha? Kasi, sabi dyan, instead of focusing on the technical information that were identified by the experts. And a participatory CIS requires an assessment of the user's farming system, the seasonal calendar, the currently used CIS, and the enabling environment that facilitates their access to it or to the CIS. And lastly, is an action plan must be identified para mas ma-assess ano yung constraints nung CIS na napaprovide natin sa ating mga end users. Yan. So action points for, this is for the SUCs at saka sa NGAs. SUCs is to work directly with the farming communities para mas ma-map up daw po yung kanilang farming systems, seasonal calendars, and the current CIS use. Identifying gaps and opportunities as well to tailor fit po yung mga solutions. And then also for the SUCs, educate din yung mga students at saka extension workers nila on the socioeconomic and infrastructural factors that may influence access sa CIS, equipping them as well to address their constraints, these constraints in their interventions. And for the national government agencies, develop programs enabling farmers to contribute data, enriching the database, and making the CIS more locally relevant.